So who's ready to be hypnotized?
No, those pills, man, give me a great orgasm. I'll take them by myself if I have to.
Take it by yourself?
When we came here, you said I could have the bed every night and you were going to sleep on the couch.
I changed my mind. I don't share my bed with people who disrespect me.
She lets me lead, and she knows that to follow. And we do very well. We do very well in anything.
Because I meet my ex and we thinking to go back to each other. Not cheating, but be kissing.
This person here is about influence to my husband.
This person have name? Second of all?
The latest episode of The Last Resort is comical because we're really witnessing the blind leading the blind. And also, your girl is not an expert, but I'm starting to doubt that these professionals are experts themselves, because these experts are setting these couples up to have these, really vulnerable experiences, and there doesn't seem to be any follow through or any aftercare. And I know this is a TV show and we don't see everything. These couples are getting worse, you guys. So at this point, I'm like, it's either that the therapists are not great at their jobs, or that these couples have already decided that they no longer want to be together, and there is no work that can be done to even fake the repairment. Let's get into the latest. Hi guys, welcome back to Nikki Faces Reality. We are here to discuss 90 Day Fiancé, The Last Resort. I'm going to try my best to muffle it, but if you hear like a random banging, it's something outside of my window because it is super windy in New York City today. But anyways, you guys, this latest episode of The Last Resort was juicy, but for all the wrong reasons. We tune in because we want to see if these couples even have a chance of making it. But I feel like at this point in the season, we need to give up on that concept. These people are not here to work on each other. They are here for popularity contests. They are here for pissing contests. They are here to make friends. Anything at all that they can distract themselves besides actually working on their relationships. Before we dive deep, as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're new here. Also, you guys, not 90 Day related, but we do have Love is Blind coming up soon. So if that is a show that you also like and you haven't subscribed, come on, join me. But anyway, back at The Last Resort, these people are still at the honeymoon suite. As you guys recall, Julia and Brandon are trying to have this party, aka Julia is trying to avoid banging Brandon. We pick up where Natalie made her entrance and everyone's like, girl, Josh does not like you. He tells everyone that has ears. So in this moment, we're still hearing everyone being like, yeah, every time he talks about you, you're the problem. Vinny is like, well, actually with me, he tells me that he, loves you and wants to work at it. Natalie, she hears the one bit of hope and she's like, see, it's not all bad. And I'm like, babe, you literally don't even know if he's still at the resort. It is all bad. He won't answer your messages. He won't answer your calls. He doesn't want to have a baby. He doesn't even want to claim you in a relationship. Benny's comment, honestly, would be at the bottom of the barrel. But for Natalie, she's like, oh my God, there is hope. It's a lost cause. It is truly pitiful, and honestly, no one has seen him at the resort, so he could be gone, right? And Rob comes in, and I'm only mentioning this because the minute Rob comes in, Natalie clocks that he is by himself. So she's like, where's Sophie? Where's Sophie? She does not care a rat's behind about where Sophie is. She wants to know if Rob knows where Sophie is. Because if Rob doesn't know where Sophie is, Natalie's like, oh, so Josh must be with Sophie. Like, she is still on this. Meanwhile, Sophie is bundled up like a burrito in her room. Like, no one cares about Josh. Stacey is the next one to make her entrance. She looks incredible. Y'all, the minute she comes in, she is apologizing. And I feel so bad because she shouldn't have to apologize for her husband. She didn't do anything. He was the one that embarrassed himself. Everyone saw it. But still, she just was apologizing to everyone. And there was a point that Julia and Jasmine are next to her and they're like, we feel so bad. You shouldn't have to go through that. And it almost seems like for a moment, they're looking at Stacey and Florian what a terrible marriage. And it may not be the best, but you guys have her beat. That's something that we keep seeing in this show where everyone thinks that they're the superior couple. We'll touch on that again later, but in some ways, I feel like they really think this is summer camp and they're competing for a medal, but honestly, they are all in shambles. Then Ari makes her appearance and it's super awkward. I honestly forgot about her, if I'm being really honest. But it's awkward because her and Binny haven't talked since, he flipped her off. And still, he acknowledged her presence and he was trying to be cordial. And she was giving him like the mean eyes and silent treatment. Whatever. But the meat of the honeymoon suite is truly the segment that we get to in every episode, in any spinoff that Gino is in. The segment that I'd like to call Gino, Please Bang Your Wife. So they're all seated by the fireplace, and I think Julia is like, oh, so what do you want to do? And Jasmine's like, I want to have schmecks tonight. To which everyone's like, ooh, Gino, like, all of these men are deprived. They would love for their wives to be like, yeah, let's get it in. Meanwhile, Gino looks constipated. And Gino immediately is like, no. So he's like, we fight all day, like, blah, blah, blah. And Jasmine's like, we've had a few days in a row that we haven't fought. And he's like, that's not true. But then he adds, and there's no emotional connection. So like, and honestly, you guys, I feel like those are the things that people are not listening. Gino keeps blaming Jasmine for checking out, but he has been checked out of this relationship. He doesn't want to be with her because he doesn't care for her anymore. And you could see his disdain for her. And I'm not married, so I don't pretend to understand like how much you should fight to keep a marriage alive. I just know personally, I cannot handle this level of rejection. And I know someone will be like, well, I can't handle like the way that Jasmine verbally abuses him. Absolutely. I could never. Like, honestly, this situation for me is an obvious divorce. Like, they are both so terrible to each other for different reasons. I just don't see how there could be a winning in this. And it just gets worse as the night progresses. Because Jasmine is really trying to talk to Gino in a very calm fashion. She's not coming at him. But she's like, Gino, like, you seem pleased. And she brings up the corn and he immediately like tenses up. But in this moment, she's not calling him an addict. She's like, you have this outlet. And that is not an outlet that I like to use for myself. And she's like, you seem pleased doing this. So I would be pleased in that department if I was intimate with someone on the side. So why don't you agree to do the open relationship? And he's like, no, I already told you that I don't want that. That's not something that I would sign up for. And he's like, you just need to DJ. And she's like, honey, I am not going to DJ for the rest of my life. That is not something that works for me. You are satisfied. I need to do something for me. She's like, if you don't want me to do this, then like, what are we supposed to do? Because I'm not going to do what you want me to do. And he's like, well, I guess we shouldn't be together. And she just like walks off. You guys, I am not for open relationship, but I am also just like, you are leaving her with zero options when you are also not putting in any type of effort to get closer to a place where you can be intimate. He has completely just been like, I don't want anything to do with you. So then set her free. Let her go. What do you gain from this? And a therapist, one of these experts on Between the Sheets, she was like, he's definitely using physical intimacy and affection as a way to punish her. And for a long time, I used to be like, no, like he probably really like just can't get it together emotionally because she was so awful to him. But seeing him in The Last Resort, I feel like I'm seeing him in a new light, and he definitely gets like a kick out of withholding this from her. And the thing is, she's not going to keep groveling at your feet. And it's what Brandon said, like him being like, I need to not fight for a few days. I think that Gino's expectations are unrealistic. People have conflict. People have like some bickering. Definitely, I've said it before, it shouldn't get to the extent where Jasmine goes. But nothing is perfect 100% of the time. And I think that it is unfair to do that. Like, it's too late. You're already in it. You already chose this person. You had this drama before you got married. It definitely, like, there's no other way to see it for me than it being a control thing now that he has her married. It's like, well, now you're stuck with me, so now you have to deal with whatever punishment I put you through. That's what it seems like to me. Let me know your thoughts. It was just really uncomfortable because you could tell that everyone really thought that they were going to do something. They really thought that they were going to be able to fix Gino and Jasmine in that night. But I think it was important for everyone else to see just how stubborn Gino is, and that even when Jasmine is being nice and trying to like, you know, seduce him, he really shuts her off. And I think that has been the most satisfying thing to see the cast members' faces while it's happening and also seeing their reactions in between the sheets. Definitely recommend. But that night when they went back to the room, like, I really don't know how these two have been together for that long. So Jasmine is like, I'm gonna sleep on the bed, and Gino's like, you slept in the bed the last few times. And she's like, well, I told you I am not sharing a bed with someone that doesn't respect me. And he's like, well, when we came here, you agreed that I would sleep on the bed every night. And the fact that a husband agreed to that kind of setup tells me everything that I need to know about Gino. I get it. He's old. The couch is probably not great for his back. I don't think it would be good for my back. Then get a different room. To even agree to have your wife be on the couch for the entirety that you're filming The Last Resort, literally is like, this man is really trying to punish her. He's really trying to humble her. He's really trying to make her feel beneath him. And it is disgusting. I do want to call out though, in this moment where they're fighting, getting ready for bed, Jasmine makes a comment that she doesn't like that he's trying to act like Florian 2.0, that he probably sees the things that Florian gets away with telling Stacey. And she's like, I'm not Stacey. And it's going to continue Jasmine's like animosity towards Florian. But quickly, we do see Jasmine and Gino the morning of a big therapy day ahead, and they get like a notice from production and they read it out loud. Basically, it's going to be like an overnight situation in nature. Jasmine at first looks annoyed, but she's like, you know what? I'm looking forward to being in nature and being disconnected because I've been super overwhelmed. To which Gino is like, yeah, you know, sometimes we take a step forward and then 2 steps back. That has nothing to do with anything, but Jasmine's like, Gino, if you have any love left for me, I need this to be a good day because I am drained and I am at my wit's end. Like, I am ready to let go. Gino, for the first time, I think, is registering his punishments. Like, she's not gonna sit around and just endure it. She could very much leave him. And I think he's having this revelation because he's like, oh, like, she keeps bringing up the open marriage. Like, she won't let up. So obviously she is ready to move on to the next person. And yeah, I think that she has had it with his treatment. And also for me, my theory would be like, oh, if she's already being persistent about having an open relationship, she already has someone on standby. And from the rumors, she definitely does. But anyway, it's time for them to head off to nature. But anyway, it's time for everyone to head off to this, you know, therapy activity, this overnight activity. And they decide to have a girls' van, a boys' van, which I loved because I felt like it was a free-for-all for everyone to talk crap about each other. But while they're seated in the vans, all of a sudden they hear a noise. And it's this like sports car that is super loud. And of course, it is Josh making his appearance. Such a freaking show off, you know? And Natalie sees this and she's like, oh my God, that's him. He thinks he's so cool. Meanwhile, she's like dying inside because she loves him. But also she's pissed because he hasn't answered any of her calls. He didn't tell her, hey Natalie, I'm coming back. Nothing. He told her nothing. But when he pulls up to the boys' van, everyone's like, show off, nice car. It's probably a rental. Like... And he reveals that he in fact did leave the resort because he thought that he was done. He said that last fight was like the last straw for him, but he came back because of the boys. Can someone remind Josh that this show is not Let's Make Friends? This show is Can Natalie and I Be Together? He didn't say I'm back because I love her. He claimed to miss the crazy, but I think he missed it because he likes to have her body. He does not really love her. There is nothing that anyone can tell me that would make me believe that he loves her for real. We do have a few more revelations between the vans. Gino is really not clearing his name. People will forever think that he is just a weirdo because the guys are like, man, you know what? Like, you're only going to get ahead with Jasmine. You're only going to make a breakthrough if you are intimate. Why not pop one of your famous blue pills? To which Gino says, yeah, I love those blue pills. He's like, I get a really good O with them. Honestly, I like to use them for myself. Gino, I really told the public that you were not a corn addict. But everything you say this episode is just proving that people were onto something. And his boyfriend, aka Florian, is like, Gino, you need to feed Jasmine or someone else will. And in my opinion, and allegedly, someone else has. But yeah, the last bit of tea that was shared between the Vans was that Brandon screwed up. Julia, in fact, was ready to give it to him. She did promise, and she was gonna see it through. But honey, Brandon was so drunk, he fell asleep. And so he's in a van of guys that are completely sexually frustrated, and he blew his shot, and I think that was hilarious. But finally, they all arrive to the campgrounds, and it is awkward because the instructor is a hypnotherapist. She was the lady that led the stand therapy situation with Sophie, Rob, Stacey, and Florian. Her focus, though, is hypnotherapy, and the difference between her and the other therapists is that I feel like this lady takes herself too seriously. And I'm like, babe, this is a TV show. These couples don't care about each other. Let's take a breath. But she is not here for the shenanigans, okay? First thing she tells everyone is to get in pairs. Jasmine, Natalie, and Stacey are beefing with their men, so they're like, we don't have a partner. And this lady's like, let's be adults, go to your partner. And they're all like, huffing and puffing. She's like, we need to get through this. Josh, for some reason, is shocked that Natalie's avoiding eye contact. And I'm like, sir, you literally left the resort. When she told you that she wants her eggs cracked, you said, I never promised that.
Playing with you. I want my eggs cracked, meaning I want a child.
She eventually goes to where he is, and he like does this stupid thing where he like reintroduces himself, and it's just unnecessary. Again, this guy is here for camera time. So this lady immediately is like, this is going to be a physical and spiritual experience. You're going to set up tents. You're going to sleep on these grounds. Jasmine is pouting like a little fifth grader, and she's like, well, I don't want my tent next to his. And she's pointing at Florian. And Florian's like, he has a name. I hate that Florian is so funny because he's such an ass, you know? But he's like, this person has a name. But again, the instructor's like, we all need to be adults, okay? Also, you haven't even started putting up tents, Jasmine. You could just move. Like, it's really not a big deal. But she wanted to make it known. She wanted to throw her jabs. And Florian was with the shits, okay? He was ready to hand it right back to her. But anyway, everyone is building their tents. Josh and Natalie, they start building theirs, but it's tense. And he's like, yeah, you know, we work so well as a team. We did it the fastest. And I'm like, sir, again, this is not a competition. You are here to work at it with the crazy lady that you keep running away from. What's not clicking? Jasmine is completely boycotting this activity. She's making Gino struggle. She's basically like, he likes to be in control. He likes to take the lead on everything. Well, let him figure it out. To which the instructor is like, this is purposely a two-person job. And then Florian comes in and starts helping Gino. And the instructor did not read the room. She's like, isn't it funny that the person that you didn't want to be around is the one helping you sleep in the tent? And Jasmine's like, I'm not going to sleep in a tent that Florian makes. And again, like, we are going in circles. Y'all, Natalie and Josh are equally sickos, okay? Natalie is like a dog with a bone. She is still pissed about the fact that she was disqualified in the first competition, that she is treating this tent exercise like it's a redemption arc. Because her and Josh go to the instructor and she's like, see, we did it first. We won. We're the best. And the instructor's like, yeah, you're a winner. And she's like, yeah, you know, like we did well. She's like, I always let him lead. And, you know, we just work so well together. And like, I just need the acknowledgement from him. And Josh is like, yeah, like you were great. Things go well when you follow my lead. But when you try to take charge, it doesn't go well. And I literally wanted to puke because I get it that she is a lot. But if you think that her taking control is her just asking you to respect her and to define the relationship, if you think that's her grabbing control after 3 years, you deserve to get dragged. Despicable. But again, he doesn't want her to speak. He doesn't want her to serve any other purpose than for his convenience and his pleasure. And like, it's just so obvious. There is a funny moment though in this crap show where everyone thinks that Jasmine is missing. And Gino's like, yeah, like, where's Jasmine? And people are like, oh, maybe she's in the mountains. Oh my God, the scorpions, the snakes. Meanwhile, the entire time, Jasmine is sleeping in the tent. And I'm like, that's how I know that Gino does not care about that lady, because why wasn't that the first place you checked? Anyways, we get to the therapy portion, and I would love to know if you guys believe in hypnotherapy. I've never experienced it, so I'm always like on the fence on whether or not it works or people just want it to work so bad that they play into it. So this lady is leading this group hypnosis and Natalie is doing the most. She's like, it doesn't call for that. I don't think so. Particularly when I was watching this group, I'm like, this is a beautiful, like, scenic place. It seems like it would be quiet. I would just take a nap. You tell me to close my eyes to meditate, I'm gonna pass out. So I felt like that was what was happening for a lot of them. And then of course, some of them were definitely acting, like Natalie. I feel like Stacey was acting. The purpose of this hypno session is that she wants them to think of a time where they hurt their partner. She wants them to relive like the feelings that they experienced when it happened and what they would have done differently. Then they wake up. And she starts with Brandon and Julia. Brandon reveals that like he feels like the moment that, he messed up and hurt Julia was when he gave his clingy ass mother their house keys. If you guys know, Brandon and his mom and his parents in general, like they lack boundaries. If they could live under his skin, they would. And it's just a lot sometimes, and that was definitely a source of issues for them. And I recall Julia being really upset about that. But in this moment, Julia's like, that's not the worst moment. Like, it's fine. Like, she seems down and also just like being really chill about that situation. But we'll find out that she had that response because she was feeling super guilty. Before she tells her story, she's like, please don't walk away, which already is not good. She said that apparently 4 years ago, Brandon went to visit her. Immediately, I'm trying to put things together. I'm like, were they married 4 years ago? I don't recall like how long they've been together. But 4 years ago, he went to visit her in Russia to see her family. And apparently she was being horrible to him. What he doesn't know is that she was being horrible because she was talking to her ex at the time and they were trying to figure out whether or not they would get back together. So that means emotionally, she was already cheating. On top of that, they kissed. And when you have history with someone, you're not gonna peck him. I also don't know if I believe that they weren't intimate like all the way. She says it was just kissing, but I think that she said just kissing because she saw the horror in everyone's face. Everyone reacted like, girl, you did cheat. Like, that is cheating. Brandon looked just so torn up. And in his confessional, he's like, honestly, like knowing that, divorce is definitely on the table. I don't condone cheating of any kind, you guys, but I would like to know if they were married already, because it's bad, period. But if you're married, that's like another layer. That's like another level of bad, Also, I think that Julia said this to sabotage the relationship. I said it in the last few recaps that I feel like she has a block that is preventing her to be close to Brandon. He, of course, has things to work through too, but I feel like he's trying and she just seems to kind of like brush him off sometimes. So part of me feels like she said that to him to sabotage, because why else would you need to bring it up when you guys are past it? Like, you already committed the crime, right? You got married. You've started a brand new life. I get it that probably the guilt was killing her. But honestly, sometimes I feel like when you make those kind of confessions, you're not doing it for the person that you hurt. You're doing it for you because it's eating you. I just don't know if it was worth rehashing something that happened so long ago when someone is ignorantly in bliss and you know that you're not going to do it again. Again, The fact that it happened to begin with is not good at all. But I'm just like, if it happened and you never did it again and your partner is completely oblivious, why inflict this pain? Why open a wound that they didn't know they had? I don't know. I may change my mind on how I feel about it, but it's terrible, period, full stop. But now it's gonna make Brandon like reconsider every possible milestone that you've had together, because he's gonna be like, if you kept this from me for 4 years, what else are you keeping from me? And rightfully so. It was terrible. I really do think that she is in sabotage mode. But that was the end of this episode, you guys. Let me know your thoughts. I can't wait to read them. Oof, that got heavy, right? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.